Hey guys, it's JC Theater Yu-Gi-Oh! Here today, and I'm coming at you with a very topical deck profile for you. This is my Sacred Beast deck profile for you guys. As the time of recording this, and by the time it goes up, last week the Sacred Beast structure deck dropped. So even though I wasn't planning on posting a deck profile this week, I figured because everyone's out buying the new structure deck, I might as well post my deck profile now while people are searching for it. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I post deck profiles quite a lot, and if you're not just into deck profiles, then I also post a lot of other Yu-Gi-Oh content. And if you're a regular, I appreciate you so much. And without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. Now, first off, I do play one Raviel, one Haman, and one Uriah. That's right, one of each Sacred Beast. Now, so I've seen from other deck profiles on YouTube that there are two main versions people are running with this new structure deck support, and that's a more competitive version and a more casual version. This is definitely geared towards casuals for sure with all the nostalgia bait. The competitive version does just run Raviel and Haman, but I run Uriah because I want to bring out Armityle the Chaos Phantasm. So just be aware Uriah is the worst by far, and some builds don't even play him. This is kind of a mix between casual and competitive, so I run all three because it's just so fun to bring out the big boss monster of the deck using the three pseudo boss monsters. So for the new support here, I am playing 3 Chaos Summoning Beast. He is a level 1 with 0/0 attack and defense, and he has 2 effects. You contribute it in order to special summon one of the Sacred Beasts from your hand, ignoring the summoning conditions. And if it's in your graveyard, you can banish it to add a Fallen Paradise from your deck to your hand. So this is a twofer right here, because not only is it very good when you have the Sacred Beast in your hand to just bring them out, but it also lets you search Fallen Paradise, which is a very good field spell for the deck. Next up, I play 3 Dark Beckoning Beast, which is my personal favorite of all of the Sacred Beast support. Now, this guy also has 2 effects because, as you're probably aware, the Sacred Beast deck in general needs all the help it can get. So honestly, some of these effects aren't broken, but definitely you get a lot of value in each of the monsters, the support monsters in this deck. So Dark Beckoning Beast has 2 effects. When it's normal summon, you can add one of the Sacred Beasts or a card that lists the name of any of the Sacred Beasts from your deck to your hand. And when you do that, you're able to normal summon again that turn, as long as it's a fiend with 0 attack and 0 defense. For the next support monsters for the Sacred Beast, we have an oldie but a goodie, Dark Summoning Beast. He is level 5, but in conjunction with Dark Beckoning Beast, he's definitely good. What he does is you contribute him in order to special summon out any of your Sacred Beasts from your deck onto the field. And he also has a graveyard effect where you can banish him in order to add one of the Sacred Beasts to your hand. So not only does he get a Sacred Beast on board, but he also gets a Sacred Beast to hand. And unlike some cards that have graveyard effects, these guys can use their graveyard and their on-field effect in the same turn. So that's why, like I mentioned, you get a lot of value out of these guys for sure. The final card that you actually want to get on the field and stuff in the main deck is the tech option. I didn't come up with this tech. I've seen it floating around in some builds, more competitive versions of the builds, and that's one Darkus Diablos, Lord of the Lair. Now he's very good because, as you probably noticed, the little guys, both Dark Summoning Beast and also Chaos Summoning Beast, tribute themselves to activate their effects. And additionally, Raviel also tributes with his effect. So you do a lot of tributing in this deck. So you can just bring this guy out. He's a good just monster to keep bringing back from the graveyard. And he's quite strong, so he has a very good field presence. The one tech card, another tech card rather, that I play is one Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. This can be used in tandem with Union Carrier. I'm a dummy and didn't realize this, but Union Carrier can equip from your deck or hand a monster with either the same type or the same attribute, which this is dark, so it can equip to things such as you would preferably equip it to Raviel. And this just is a very powerful floodgate where if it's equipped to a monster, your opponent can't special summon out of their extra deck. So if you get this going with Union Carrier and you get Dragon Buster Destruction Sword equipped to your Raviel, you're in a very good position with this deck. For the hand traps, I do play 3 Ash Blossom, and then I play the Gamma package, which is 3 Psy-Frame Gear Gamma, and then with its effect, you have to play the 1 Psy-Frame Driver. Of course, with these 7 slots here, my 7 hand traps, you can kind of switch these out with whatever you personally want to play. Deck profiles in general, you know, you use them to kind of bounce ideas off of the video and think of ways to build your own deck. These are the most interchangeable with whatever you think should go in here instead, because hand traps are always up to the player. And I just said 7 slots, but when we go into the spells, we have an 8th slot where you can kind of play test with other things and play around with other card choices. Upstart Goblin's very good in this deck. You just want as much consistency as possible, and this makes your deck 39 cards instead of 40, basically. We play, for the rest of the one-ofs, 1 Foolish Burial to get that Diabolus into the graveyard, 1 1-for-1 because we do have the level 1 Fiend that we can bring out, and then another one-of, we play 1 Super Polymerization because we do play the Verte Anaconda in this build. This deck, as you're probably aware, has some breathing room with the extra deck for sure, so we can run a few Super Poly targets in it. So this is a very good option, so that way you can kind of remove some problem issues on your opponent's board. Some more one-ofs that are more archetype specific is I play 1 Cerulean Skyfire. This is searchable, which is why I'm just playing it at 1, and it relies on having Hamon on the field. This basically, the best part about this effect and the main part about this effect is that if you have a Hamon in attack position, you can negate a spell or trap activation your opponent does, and you just flip that Hamon to defense position. This is pretty good because basically then, you know, on your turn you can switch it back to attack and then use this effect to put it to defense and back and forth. So basically you get once per turn a negate, which is definitely pretty solid. The fusion spell of the deck is the 1 Dimension Fusion Destruction. This is pretty good because it's a much easier way to bring out Armatile, because it can use the materials from your hand, field, or graveyard to bring out Armatile. Additionally, it has an other effect where Armatile's biggest weakness is the fact that he only has the 10k attack on your turn and on your opponent's turn. He's just an unkillable 0 attack monster. This actually allows you to not get dealt any damage, which is definitely very good. The final one-of that's archetype specific is the 1 copy of Fallen Paradise. Now, Fallen Paradise, this won't be a rant, but I just gotta speak my truth on this. So it's a very good card, especially in a vacuum. If you control any of the Sacred Beast or Armatile, you're able to once per turn just straight up draw 2 cards. In addition to that, it protects your Sacred Beast and Armatile from being targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Overall, very great. The issue is that even though it's immensely powerful for letting you draw 2 cards once per turn if you have one of the Sacred Beasts, if you already have a Sacred Beast on your field, you've already gone through enough combos to get to that point. You need to get draws as you're going through your combos to get the Sacred Beasts out. So this is kind of like a win more card in a way. Definitely don't get me wrong, this is an amazing card for the deck, which is why I'm running it, but it's not as important as, at least for me, I initially thought, because like I said, it's definitely a win more card. You need the Sacred Beasts on the field, but once you have an established board and you have this, then it's very good. For some more consistency, we play the 3 Opening of the Spirit Gates. This is a very good support card for the deck. On activation, just like Tenki, it allows you to search either one of the Sacred Beasts or a monster that lists the Sacred Beasts in its card text to your hand. So basically any of the Sacred Beast support or them themselves in this deck, monster-wise anyway. And then it in addition to that, unlike Tenki where it just has, you know, like the 100 attack increase, you know, all that, this has actually two pretty decent effects. The one is if you have a Sacred Beast on your side of the field, or if you have a level 10 monster, which will be in this deck a Sacred Beast, you're able to add one continuous spell from your graveyard to your hand. And its other effect, which doesn't matter what's on your field, is you can discard a card in order to special summon out one fiend monster with 0 attack and 0 defense from your graveyard onto the field. So those two, in combination with the fact that it's our really good searcher, this card is just very, very amazing for the deck in general. And for some even more consistency, we play 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. Even though we play plenty of dark monsters in the deck, as you're probably aware, the monster count is relatively low, considering, you know, we have the hand traps and stuff. I think there's like 12 or 13 monsters in the deck, and only like 10-ish are dark, but you blow through the deck pretty quickly, and I think this is a necessity in order to get to more of your combo pieces. I max out on all of the good Sacred Beast monster support. Some people play Dark Summoning Beast at 2 or 1 copy, but I'm playing it at 3 as well as all the others, so that way I do have some fodder for this card here. The last 3 for the spells is 3 Called by the Grave, simply because this can be interrupted for sure, and you want to prevent that as much as possible. Now on to the traps. So I just play 3 traps in the deck, 2 of them being Awakening of the Sacred Beasts. This card is very good. So it has 3 potential effects that stack depending on how many uniquely named Sacred Beasts you have on the field. So if you have 1, it has a very bad or not very good effect where you just gain life points every time your opponent special summons a monster based off of the attack of that special summon monster. It's not bad, but it doesn't like help your game state really, or like hinder your opponent. Mainly people play this card for its second effect, which is basically a skill drain for just your opponent. And then its third effect, when you have 3 Sacred Beasts on the field, which hardly ever happens, is that it's a Dimensional Fissure, aka all cards go banished instead of sent to the graveyard, all of your opponent's cards anyway. That third effect is definitely good, but the second effect is what people usually play this card for, because that's the effect that usually will occur, and it's a very good effect. Now, the final trap I play in the deck is actually just good old Skill Drain. I understand that this card also affects you, but my rationale is that you need 2 Sacred Beasts on the field in order for this to be a Skill Drain on your opponent, whereas this is always live when you play it. Even though it affects you, I feel like ultimately Skill Drain kind of fills the gaps that are left by playing Awakening of the Sacred Beasts. This is just something I'm playing around with. Feel free to not try this out if you think it's dumb, because I kind of see it not working out. Like I said, I'm currently testing it and playing it around with it. I don't know if it's sticking in the deck, but as of right now, hence me doing a deck profile on a deck I made, I'm playing this in the deck. But by all means, if you don't like this option, because I see the downfall of using this, just play another copy of this. So for the extra deck, I do play the 1 Armityle, the Chaos Phantasm. This is basically a giant beat stick that you want to get into. 10,000 attack is crazy, and it feels really great, and it gives you immense style points if you manage to pull this off and win with this card. The rest of the fusions we play in the deck are just some options for our super polymerization, like Mud Dragon of the Swamp, Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, and Predaplant Dragostapelia. For the Link monsters, I play 1 Salamangreat Almirage, 1 Link Karibo, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, and then 3 Link monsters that are like techs, or like we're using them for their effects rather than, I don't know how to word this, but just like 3 Link monsters that work very integratedly into this deck build is 1 Union Carrier because of the Dragon Buster Sword in the deck, 1 Barricade Board Blocker so that way we can recycle the Fallen Paradise if anything happens to it, and then 1 Predaplant Verte Anaconda for the super poly we play in the deck. For Xyz, I do play the 1 Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max. I don't have Lieb. If I did, I would play it in here. I do have, I believe, 4 slots left in this extra deck. You could run more rank 10 Xyz. You can run the other fusion card like Trililog or whatever, the Phantasm Fusion. That's 4,000, 4,000. Play around with it. This is all the extra deck that I think is necessary for my build, and the other 4 cards can be just played around with some more techs, even as simple as like Nightmare Cerberus or Unicorn or something like that. Thank you guys so much for watching this deck profile. Like all of my other deck profiles, if you have any suggestions, issues with my choices, anything I hadn't thought of, please let me know down in the comments below. I post deck profiles, if we're being real here, because I make decks anyway. I find it so fun to collect archetypes and make decks out of them. And then it's like free content basically, because I just show you guys and it's a YouTube video. So the point is, I have no intimate relationship with my tech choices or card choices in general. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you let me know anything I did wrong, anything you think is more right. Please subscribe. I've been plateauing quite a lot. I appreciate you guys so much. GX for life. I'm JC Theater Yu-Gi-Oh! See ya!